Oh my God, we're live. All right. Probably going to take a little while to get everybody here, so that's fine. I'm going to chill. Um, hey guys, wasn't it crazy when that dude and or woman and or thing died at Game of Thrones? I don't know. If anybody says anything in these comments tonight, or I don't know. This is my first time going live on YouTube. I don't know if the comments pop up. I don't know how it works. But if a comment pops up with a Game of Thrones spoiler, I am going to hurt you. I'm just saying. You'll be blocked, banned, and I'll somehow track your IP. See? Hello. Don't spoil Game of Thrones. If you do, I will track your IP and I will do bad things to you. It's not going to be pleasant. But, alas, here we are. I'm here in the old bar basement, probably for one of the last live videos I will ever do from here, because I'm moving. I am in the suburbs of Chicago. I'm actually moving into the big city. My wife works a lot downtown, and all her business has pretty much moved down there, and all her gigs and everything like that. So we're going to just move to the city. So this might be one of the last from my lovely little man cave here, but hopefully the new place I'll be able to find a place for the old bourbon stash and whatnot. Should be pretty good. I'll wait just a few more minutes. I probably should have gone on a few minutes earlier to get people kind of going. But I'll briefly just run through what we're going to do here tonight. It is, one more time, a Wrestling with Whiskey, initial thoughts, just kind of a sampling, a tasting of some, as you can see, samples that I received in the mail the other week. And this is exciting because I believe this is only this is the third time now on the show that the distillery has provided these samples. So it's cool to be able to be a part of that. And again, there's no compensation. All those things I'm gonna put up front. No compensation, no direction, no nothing. I was on their list. They sent this to me, and they said, please enjoy and give us your thoughts. We'd love to hear it. So this is from Bardstown Bourbon Company. They are located, obviously, in Bardstown. I was lucky enough to go visit Bardstown Bourbon Company back in the fall. They're not far from Luxco, which does like the Blood Oath and the David Nicholson, as well as the old Ezra series. So they have a really cool setup over at Bardstown. They're kind of they've been around several years, but they just started doing their own stuff. So they do a little bit of everything, which is really, really cool. They produce their own whiskey, and it's coming out. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here. They produce their own. They contract distill for a lot of people. So they're kind of like their own MGP, but then they have collaboration. They do all kinds of, they work with Copper and King's Brandy, but they have this great bar and restaurant, so it's like a culinary destination too. It's kind of like wine, Napa Valley sort of stuff. And they do it all at a very, very high level. I got a chance to meet some of the staff and everything like that. And just, it was a quick visit, but from top to bottom, it seemed to be a very top-notch organization. Just everything running really, really well. My bourbon journey on the prowl. I love it. I love it. The Bardstown Bourbon, really reminded me of like New Riff, where it's just like this company that's kind of newer on the block, but has everything kind of clicking, doing everything right. And it seemed to be a little bit of everything going on. What do you think? The only one possible it's the only one I do for tastings. I drink out of New Orleans. I drink out of rocks. I've been drinking out of rocks glasses just plain lately, and it's actually been really fun. But for tastings, I always go with the old classic. You got to go with the Glencairn. So that's the go-to. I'm not going to stall too much longer. People can always watch this back on the YouTube. That's what's great about it. And I don't have to edit it because I'm really bad at editing. But what we are tasting tonight is going to be a new series from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Like I said, they contract distill for a lot of people, including a little bit of Jefferson's, High West, just to name a few. There's more in the pamphlet that they sent. I can't rattle it off the top of my head. But these are releases under their own label. And what's interesting about these is that they're all blends. None of these are like a single barrel product or a small batch of just one kind of juice, or just one barrel from MGP or Heaven Hill or whatever. These are very complex blends, which I find very, very interesting. They have their Fusion series, which will be out in May. We have the Discovery series, which let me read to make sure I'm not saying it wrong, which will be available in June in Kentucky, Florida, and California. And then we have the, I believe it's Pfeiffer Pavitt Reserve, which is available now in Kentucky, Florida, and Northern California, and coming soon to Indiana, Tennessee, and right here in Illinois. But without too much further ado, I'm going to go through some of the info they sent as I taste some of these. The first is going to be make sure I read it right, the Fusion series from Bardstown Bourbon Company. Pour a little bit in here, get some air in it. So basically, this is one of the more interesting ones. This is the one distillate that includes their own juice. So this is a good chunk. Oh, excuse me, I'm reading the wrong one. So this is really interesting because it's using two of their mash bills. They do a wheated mash bill and a rye mash bill for their own distillate. And this is a blend of both. It's 42% of the Bardstown Bourbon Company 2-year high rye mash bill. That's 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. It is also 18% of Bardstown Bourbon Company 2-year, 3-month wheated distillate, which is 68 corn, 20 wheat, and 12 malted barley. That's another thing I like about this. They're very upfront with mash bills, with ages, and availability proof. Everything is pretty much laid out in this form. Reminded me of what Ghost Hill and Treaty Oak did when they sent samples. They were very upfront where they got their stuff, what they did with it. So that makes up about 60%, and then the other 40% is unnamed, of course, Kentucky bourbon of 11 years and 7 months, which is a 74% corn, 18% rye, 8% malted barley. So it's 40% sourced, aged, almost 12-year bourbon from Kentucky, and then 60% 2-year wheat and regular rye mash bill. So it's a really cool, interesting blend. There's a lot of high age stuff, so it should cut some of the younger bite out of there. I really like that. The first in a very interesting series of pours here. Let's take a go. It's nice. You kind of see there. So despite there being a pretty good amount of almost 12-year-old whiskey, now the light, I've got a kind of bright light here, but it's not super dark, especially compared to the other two samples I have with me. But it's still, it's got that nice medium kind of amber color. Immediately on the nose, there's a lot of almond and almost buttery, like a very buttery sense to it. Almost like a candy spice sort of thing. And just a little bit of like menthol, but not just a teeny tiny bit. And a little bit of the corn, probably from the younger distillate that's in there. Definitely a little bit of a youth bite in there that you can pick up because 60% of this, again, is 2 years old. Little corn forward, but sweetness. But there's a sweetness with it that makes it not very harsh. Those nutty notes kind of come through as well. Some drier, like dry rye spice in there. We'll say this, I would have thought that this, considering there was 40% of this is almost 12-year-old whiskey, I would have thought it would have been a little bit more substantial. But that being said, I really do like the, like I said, those, almost getting cocoa notes now that it's open. Cheers to you, my friend. Yeah, a little bit of like menthol mint from that rye spice and everything. It's nice. I'll come back to this, but my initial thoughts, I'll say, not knocked out of my seat, but this is a really interesting blend, and I like what they're doing. They're mixing their own stuff, and they're doing it well. That's the thing. Sourced with their own distillate, and they're doing it well. That's a good blend. And this is the cheapest of the series. This is this is coming in May. Retail is $59.99. So your typical kind of middle range bottle, and I don't think that's too bad. Moving right along, we have the Discovery Series, number 1, Bardstown Bourbon Company. Their description is a unifying concept, and Discovery is a 12-year-old Kentucky bourbon combined with light accents of older and younger Kentucky bourbons. So, this one's kind of big. We have 5% of 13-year-old Kentucky bourbon, 78 corn, 12 rye, 10 malted barley. We have 75% Kentucky bourbon, 11 years old, 74 corn, 18 rye, 8 malted barley. We have 19% Kentucky bourbon, 10 years old, 75 corn, 13 rye, 12 malted barley, and then 10% Kentucky bourbon, 5 years old, 75 corn, 13 rye, 12% malted barley. This one, I don't know if it's technically barrel proof, but it is 121.21. They give you the extra digit there. Proof. So it's about 60.6 ABV. This one will be coming out in June to Kentucky, Florida, and Northern California, and to Indiana, Tennessee, and Illinois shortly thereafter. This one, suggested retail is $129.99, so this is a premium product for sure. Let's see just how premium it is. Now there's a lot of 10 plus year bourbon in there. You see how old that is. There's a lot of color in there. It's very deep. I'm very excited about this. A lot of oak, way more oak on this than there was on the initial one. Obviously, all the age. We don't know where these are from. That minty kind of grapiness is on there for sure. Just a little bit of ethanol. Ooh, that's a flavor bomb. That explodes pretty well. I mean, these are fresh pours. That's really nice. It just tingles right into like the middle palate there with rye spice. And I'm just going to go right back to it. Dark fruit, burnt sugar, a little bit of leather in there. finish is like almost like a tobacco. Not overly drying, but man, that really explodes when you sip it. That's the best way I can describe it. Again, I didn't give my disclaimer. I am not a professional, but I'm just super, super into it and have been for a while now. And so I've got a chance to taste a lot. And that just, boom, hits your cheeks, tongue, middle palate, kind of explodes with flavor. I'm taking one more sip. I don't want to burn my palate out here. That is at a premium price point and understood why now. The flavors are awesome, but what is it? 4 different Kentucky bourbons, 4 different whiskeys, and of varying ages, anywhere from 5 to 13 years old. Obviously, the distilleries are undisclosed because of agreements, but the way Bardstown's doing things, it's really cool. It's not just like it's a bunch of MGP stuff. Like the way they're kind of doing things could be some, the one blend could be Heaven Hill, the one could be MGP, the one could be Dickel, the one could be who knows. And whatever they did though, their blenders and their master distiller and everything, putting that together, that is an excellent blend of aged whiskey. I'll put my stamp on that. That is an excellent blend of various aged whiskeys. Bravo on that. High price point, but I see why. And last but not least, we have the Pfeiffer Pavitt Reserve. This is straight bourbon whiskey finished in Pfeiffer Pavitt Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. I don't know who Pfeiffer was, but apparently he got a barrel named after him. Bravo. This is a 9-year-old Tennessee straight bourbon finished in Pfeiffer Pavitt Reserve Cabernet barrels from Napa Valley. So this is American wine finished for, I believe, 19 months, which is good. It's almost 2 years. The longest wine finish I think I've seen is on the 1792, which I believe is a little over 2 years in port barrels. But this is 19 months in the Pfeiffer Pavitt Cabernet. It's 98.9 proof. This will also be a premium product at $124.99 when it becomes available in Kentucky. Well, it is in Kentucky, Florida, Northern California, and soon to Illinois, Tennessee, and Indiana. So this is a finished this is a single distillery. Obviously, this is a Tennessee. Most of us know where Tennessee is coming from. It could be a couple, but most often it is a Dickel product when you see it distilled and sourced from Tennessee and finished 2 years. Holy crap. Do you see how dark that... Again, I got a really bright light, so it's brightening up, but you bring it back, and that is almost wine colored. And that is after spending 19 months in Cabernet barrels. So break it down. 9-year Dickel, 2 years in Cabernet. Let's see what it smells like. Super strong. Yeah, just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, again, I got a really bright light, but you just pull it back and you just see, like, the way you see it on the camera is pretty much how I see it. It is dark. There's some deep red in here. And the wine influence is very, very prominent. There's grape, there's cherry, very fruity. Just like a hint of plums. It's just fruit, kind of dark fruit forward. Teeny bit of like bubble gum, but not in like a candy way, but it's like deep cherry bubble gum. Oak. And this like a wee bit of some kind of sweet sugar, like honey or something like that. I can give my closing point right now. That is a dessert whiskey. That is like it is just, it's rich. It's like drinking a really nice, like a chocolate cake with, the cherry or strawberry, like deep strawberry drizzle on the side, like that, like devil's food cake with that chocolate or that strawberry drizzle on it. Oh man, that would either probably that might go really good with cigar. I'm not a cigar smoker, but just like the sweetness, the smooth. I hate that word, but like it's like a smooth, rich, drizzly dessert. Confectioner's sugar, like a devil's food or like red velvet cupcake in whiskey form. Sweet, good amount of spice, not a super long finish. Probably evened out by that long, like in wine barrels, but no, I don't think it is overly sweet. To me, it's nice balance out with like and the proof is high enough too, where it gives you that kick and that little bit of that burn, and the rye spice is there just enough. It doesn't taste. It's not like candy in your mouth. That's not the right. That's what I'm saying. It's like this decadent, rich. Rich is the best word. It's not like it's juice. It's not like it's fruit juice. There's nothing of that, but it's just hearty mouthfeel, viscous, and the one word I would use to describe this whiskey is decadent. Reflected again, premium product. $124.99 is MSRP, but you are looking at a 9-year Tennessee Dickel, finished for 2 years, nearly, in Cabernet barrels. So it was almost basically an 11-year product, with some pretty cool finishing going on. I'm gonna go one more here. Some more almondy notes coming out. Yeah, that's really good. Me too. That's a good one. I it seems like it's a relatively limited release, where it's available now, and even when it expands, it's only going to a couple more states. So I feel lucky that I'm in Illinois. Illinois seems to be on all the lists for this one. A lot of the Midwest, and then California as well. But these were all very, very interesting releases. And what's fun from the company like Bardstown Bourbon Company, and I want to thank them for supplying these for the show today and everything. I ramble on, and I do it with authority. So forgive me. But Bardstown Bourbon Company, a new but serious guy on the block. And by new, I don't mean like yesterday. New, they've been here for a couple of years, but they're really starting to kickstart things, really ramping things up. This series is their own kind of creations. But as well, in the meantime, they're cooking out stuff for other people. They're having tours and tourists in for their restaurant, everything. Yeah, they will have it at the Bottle and Bond Kitchen and Bar, which isn't, again, their restaurant is top notch. Their bar and their staff is top notch. They're cooking on all cylinders in a lot of departments, from the distillery to the aging to the restaurant and the tourism and all that. I hope they keep going, because they're doing really, really well so far. Like I said, it's almost akin to like a new riff to me, where it's like a newer kid who's just banging things out the right way. From your middle of the road blend of their own distillate with aged distillate, it's a very nice whiskey. Again, it didn't kick me out of my seat, but it's really, really nice. Only going to be $60. To their more high-end, highly aged Discovery series, a blend of really nice age from anywhere from 5, but mostly 10 and older bourbon. And then this decadent bomb of, it almost reminded me of this Bunnahabhain Scotch sherry bomb that I had the other week in New York with Whiskey Bry. it's just a bomb of Cabernet and wine and sweet dessert flavors. We're up here on 25 minutes. Thank you guys for hanging around. Couple of you popped in, couple of you stuck it out. Hopefully more people check this out as it posts on YouTube. Please, please, please follow Wrestling with Whiskey on YouTube. Find me on IG, Wrestling with Whiskey. Twitter, Wrestle Whiskey. I'm not on there as much, but WWE Drama King on Twitter, Drama King WWE on Instagram to follow my more personal stuff. Bourbon Road, thank you, man. Thank you for sticking out and hanging out with us. I always say us. It's literally just me. I hang out by myself and drink whiskey. Except when I'm in the city drinking whiskey with friends. But in these videos, I drink by myself. But I always say we. Thank you once again to Bardstown Bourbon Company for supplying the samples. And I suggest looking more into them as a company. And then keep an eye out if you're in especially one of those states where it's going to be released. Check them out. Definitely, if you're in Kentucky, you need to go. I will say that hands down, regardless. If you're in Kentucky, make your way to Bardstown. There's so much to do down there. There's distilleries out the wazoo, but lunch, dinner, very resort style quality and everything like that. You guys have been awesome. Always keep expanding your palates. Learn like I am. I'm still learning. That's what's so awesome. I'm learning about things like the blends. I've been drinking tons of single barrel stuff. Mash and Drum. How you doing, buddy? I've been drinking like single barrels or store picks and all this stuff. So it's actually fun to come and see these crazy blends, which is awesome. So, and I think blends get a bad rap sometimes. It's a blended whiskey. I wanted this. This is awesome. So, I want you guys to check them out. Check me out. Subscribe, like, all this stuff. Get your conversation done, Mash and Drum, because I'm about to sign off. But thank you guys. Always be watching. Always be drinking. Always be testing yourselves and expanding your minds and palates. And always, always, always be wrestling with whiskey. Yeah. And now the awkward part where I have to sign off.